Oh, our plow's right on time. Time for Thinking Real Estate. Jackie Austin sitting in for the vacationing Schlettke's.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Jackie.
That sounded weird.
How are you today?
Good.
Happy New Year.
You too.
I missed you last week.
Yes, but it wasn't the new year yet. Last.
Oh, that's
week.
right.
We were
Okay.
still in 2014. So
Okay.
anyway, it's nice to have you back.
How was 2014?
Pretty good.
Okay,
Pretty
that's good.
There you go. So I brought a guest with me today, as I usually do when I'm on the show. I brought with me Brandon Adler from Fifth Third Bank, so we can talk about some lending stuff and different programs that are out there and kind of see what you need to do to get a loan in 2015. So, hi Brandon.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. So, tell me a little bit about you and the bank, maybe, because I'm not sure how many people, like, where are you guys located and all that kind of stuff.
All right, so we have 3 Fifth Third Bank branches right in town, one on Spring Harbor Road, one on the corner of Argyle and Wisner, and one on East Michigan Avenue, which is where I'm usually at. And we also have a commercial lending office downtown on Michigan Ave.
Oh, see, I didn't know about the one downtown. See, we're learning new things today. So, we originally asked you to come in because you sent an email out to Laura. I'm sure you sent it out to more than just Laura, but Laura got it.
It was special for Laura.
Yeah, I'm sure. She probably thinks that. About some of your different loan programs, in particular your 203K loan, which I know kind of sounds weird when you just say 203K. People are like, what does that mean?
Yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful number program there that we get excited about. But the FHA 203K program is a pretty neat program. It's very detailed, very intense, very time consuming, but essentially it's a low down payment rehab program. It allows us to bring in licensed insured contractors so that a homeowner can purchase a home and wrap in improvements, upgrades, appliances, all sorts of fun things right into their loan, and the down payment is the same as a regular FHA program. So if they were buying a home for $100,000, they would need a 3.5% down payment of $3,500. Well, if they found a home for $80,000 and wrapped in $20,000 in improvements, that puts them at that 100, so they would have the same down payment.
Okay. So when you're going through this process, because it's like getting a loan plus kind of a construction loan type of a thing, right?
Essentially, yes.
Okay.
You have your builder involved, and we've got to scrub the builders and make sure that they're what we deem to be an approvable builder. And at time of closing, we allow them to take one draw for 50% of the material cost, so they have some money to get started. They get their final draw once all the work is done and we've verified it.
Oh, okay. So does that require getting quotes? Obviously, it would require getting quotes and stuff prior to closing so people know what things are going to cost?
Absolutely. So you go out and you show your client a home and they decide that they like it, but they want to upgrade the kitchen, upgrade the bathroom, do new flooring, appliances, whatever they decide they want to do, they're going to bring a contractor in right up front. And the difference with this program is the loan doesn't actually start when I have the purchase agreement. I can't do anything until we have the purchase agreement plus the full contractor's proposal.
Okay. All right. So how does that affect the appraisal on the property?
The appraiser is appraising it similar to a construction loan. They're appraising it subject to completion of the proposal.
Okay. So they're what it will be worth once everything's done.
Correct.
Okay. Very cool. So then is there a difference in like timing? How long does a loan like that normally take?
We usually like to ask for 60 days. They can take a little bit, they can go a little bit faster, but there's a lot of different variables in there, so it's very easy for them to take 60 days.
Okay, so if somebody's interested in that, they've got to be a little bit more patient than a regular loan.
Yes, much more patient. Yeah, you've got, and there can also be variables that come up with the appraisal. The appraiser may ask for something else to be done to meet FHA standards.
Right, oh, that's
we
right,
didn't
it's an
account
FHA
for.
loan.
So then we have to go back to the builder, ask them to include it. That has to be sent back to the bank, back to the appraiser, and so a small change can easily delay things a few days.
Okay, So it is an FHA loan, which means it's a government-backed loan. They usually have standards on their appraisals for things that, you know, can get called out, and those have to be fixed prior to closing. That's kind of a standard thing in FHA. Are you seeing problems with, you know, these government-backed loans and getting things through, or are they taking longer than they were? Are they about the same as they've been, or?
Well, that's a loaded question.
I know.
Are we seeing problems with the government back? There are certain pieces that have gotten tighter, specifically the appraisals.
Okay.
There are certain pieces in the loan process that are tighter than they used to be, of course. But all in all, if we're able to do all of our homework up front, then yeah, we're seeing things go through. I'd like to say smoothly. It's not always smoothly, but we're seeing a lot of scrutiny on the appraisals, and it sounds like that's going to continue to happen. But all in all, yeah, we're able to move a lot of them.
Okay, good. So when somebody comes in to get a loan, you said you want to have things done up front. What are some of the things you're going to be looking for from people?
Well, during the pre-approval process, we're looking at their credit, asking them how much money they make, how much money they have saved, and we should be asking right up front for them to provide documentation for that, or at least start getting stuff around. So we're going to be looking for typically the last month of pay stubs, the last 2 years of W-2s and federal tax returns, the last couple months of bank statements, retirement account statements. Student loans are always fun because they're typically in some type of deferment or repayment that's reviewed annually. So a lot of times we have to have information on the student loans, what the payments could be depending on the program. And that's, for the most part, that takes care of all their stuff. That way we have that done up front, so when you guys find a home, we're ready to go.
Okay. So are there minimum credit scores? I know there used to be like a really strict minimum credit score. Is that still the case?
Each lender is going to be a little bit different with that. Most of the conventional programs, we're going to want to see a 620 score at least, and also have an automated approval through whichever system we're using. FHA, each lender is going to differ a little bit. Right now, Fifth Third needs to see at least a 620 score with FHA if they have a score. But we're still able to finance some buyers that don't yet have credit scores established.
Oh, okay.
So that's a whole nother topic.
That
that's
is a
still
whole other
available.
topic.
And the rural development is 620 to 640, and VA doesn't actually have a minimum.
Okay. Well, that's a whole beast in
That's
itself.
a
The
whole
VA.
other topic, yeah,
So if
yeah.
you're at all interested, or if you qualify, so what would you qualify, or what would it take to qualify for a VA loan?
VA focuses really heavily on the past 12 months.
Okay.
Typically, if you're below the 640 range, it can get a little bit challenging. But generally, between 620 to 640 is when we see the VA's automated approval system teetering on deciding whether or not it wants to do it.
Okay.
And sometimes you have to go around that and have the actual VA underwriter review everything manually.
Okay. And you mentioned RD, that's rural development, that's, that one is location based, correct?
Correct.
So it has to do with where the house sits.
Exactly. And they have the maps available right on their website. And RD just overhauled their entire credit manual December 1st it took effect. So
okay.
we're still working through
Still learning
what's
that
a
one.
little bit different and what's not.
Okay, and rural development, that's a interesting program if you're looking for something outside of the city that is a zero down loan, correct?
It is zero down. It's another government insured loan, zero down. And one of the perks to the RD program, as well as the fact that it's zero down, is the monthly mortgage insurance that they charge is significantly less than FHA.
Oh, that's
Quite
good.
a bit less. So you can buy the same house and have a much cheaper payment.
Okay, that's cool. Well, it's up to you. Okay. So that's for outside the city. Now in Jackson, we actually have a MISHDA program that's specific to the city. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
It's not actually specific to the city.
Oh, it doesn't? I thought
We
it
can
was.
use the MISHDA program anywhere, but MISHDA has what they call targeted and non-targeted areas.
Okay.
the city of Jackson is deemed a targeted area, and the part that you were thinking of on that is the city of Jackson is actually on sale right now with MSHDA.
Okay.
They started with 8 cities in Michigan, and they recently added, I want to say, 10. Jackson was one of the original, and the interest rate for the MSHDA program in the city of Jackson right now with down payment assistance is 3.625%.
Wow.
So someone can purchase a home for a 1% down payment and have a 30-year fixed rate mortgage at 3.625%.
That's awesome.
Outside the city, it's just a different interest rate.
Okay. Wow, I guess I didn't know that was usable outside the city too. So that's good to know. Are there different qualifications other than the location? Are there different qualifications for MSHDA versus FHA or?
We combine the MSHDA typically with FHA is the most common, especially
Okay.
using the down payment assistance. Now you're adding a state program on top of a federal program, so there are some quirks there. They want to see a 640 credit score for that program. No open collections. The debt to income ratios are a little bit tighter. The program's all in all a little bit more conservative, but it's a very good program for buyers who just may not have the money for the down payment. And as we see interest rates continue to rise, we'll see a return of the non-down payment assistance MSHDA, which offers a subsidized rate.
Okay. And there is an income cap on that.
There is an
one, correct?
income cap. It depends on the size of the family and where the property is located.
Okay. So if somebody, let's say they're just starting to think about buying a house, what are some of the things they might want to think about with regards to finance, like when they're out, buying a new car? Should they buy a new car?
Possibly. It depends. What they need to do first and foremost before they go buy that new car is they need to get into their lender and get their pre-approval going.
Okay.
And the lender can determine at that point if, for some people they could go out and buy a brand new Jaguar and it wouldn't have any impact.
Okay.
For some people, refinancing their car could cause them not to be able to buy a house.
Okay. All right. So they need to know their
How about a gremlin?
a gremlin.
That'd work.
Can you still get a loan for that? That might be.
I'm asking you. You're the one loaning money.
He does houses, not cars.
Oh, okay.
Cars, I think, are a whole different beast.
Some people live in their gremlin.
Well, yeah,
True.
that's true. So, so I've got some friends that you're working with that are buying a house, and they spent the whole weekend working on their budget, which I thought was quite funny.
That is pretty fun. That's good.
Yeah, they're really excited about this house and everything, and so are there certain things that when you're looking at your house payment, what else should you be looking at as far as what you're going to be paying?
Well, that's actually a good question. A lot of first-time buyers have no concept of the expenses that go along with a house. And sometimes I'll ask them, have you ever rented a house? No, we've only been in an apartment. Well, they may not have any idea they're going to get a $90 trash bill every 3 months. They're moving from, an apartment which has nice brand new windows to their first home, which is an older home, and the windows are single pane glass and there's no storm windows, and their energy bills are going to be significantly higher. So I tell them there's actually, one of the mortgage insurance companies had come out with a budget form several years ago, and I'll hand that to some new buyers sometimes to maybe not necessarily fill out and return to me, but just to get them thinking about those extra expenses.
Yeah, and when you're doing their monthly payment, you're looking at taxes on the property and home insurance and talking to them about that stuff as well.
Correct, absolutely.
Yep. So.
With the online systems, it's pretty easy to get an idea of what the property taxes are. So we can pretty much nail down everything except the home insurance. So we
Okay.
have them work on that up front too.
Okay. Yeah, I was impressed by the email you sent me about this client because you broke down exactly what you talked to them about and all the different costs and all that stuff. I was quite impressed, actually.
Well, it's much easier at closing when the payment's where it's supposed to be.
Right,
What they expected.
exactly. They're not saying, what is this? So, anything else that is out there that we should know about with regards to financing? Just got a minute or two left, so.
Those are some of the more probably unique programs that are out there.
Okay. Well, we always recommend that you talk to a lender first before you start looking for a house, because you don't want to find your dream house and then realize you can't afford it. So if somebody wanted to contact you and get the process started, how should they reach you?
They can call me at my office at 517-783-3519 or email at brandon.adler, ADLER, at 53.com.
Great. Well, thanks for coming in. I appreciate all the information. Before we head out, I think we've only got a minute left or so. Some of the houses we have available, no new listings right this second, but we've got a really cool house at 2654 Virginia Court. It's on Clark Lake. Yeah, okay, I had to think that one through for a second. It is on Clark Lake. It's just a 1-bedroom, 1-bath house, but it is so cute inside. You have to see it in order to really appreciate it, but it is adorable. We've got 2511 South Parma Road. That's in Western Schools, 129.9, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, over 1,800 square feet, all on 1 floor. And the basement is huge. You could actually add additional space down there as well. What else have I got here? 3310 West Morale Street. Great house, 149.9, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, over 1,400 square feet plus a basement. And you should definitely check out those houses. Plus, we've got others. Give me a call if you're interested in looking at houses or if you want to put your house on the market.
And your phone number.
517-780-3800.
Superior Industrial Sales of downtown Jackson is putting the power back in your hands.